What is up, my tough trainers? I'm Lance, and today I'll be counting down my top 10 favorite ground type Pokemon. In the last top 10 video that I did, I counted down my top 10 favorite ghost type Pokemon, and in that video I said you guys could vote for whether you'd like to see me count down my top 10 favorite rock type Pokemon or my top 10 favorite ground type Pokemon, and ground easily won, getting over 80% of the votes, so that is what I'll be doing today. And in the next top 10 video that I do, I'll either be counting down my top 10 favorite rock type Pokemon or my top 10 favorite fire type Pokemon, depending on what you guys vote for. So to vote, just let me know what you would rather see in the comment section below. And as usual, this list right here is going to be 100% opinion based, which means if you do not agree with some of the Pokemon on this list, just go ahead and let me know some of your favorite ground type Pokemon in the comment section below. Let's go ahead and get into this list. Kicking off this list today at number 10, we have got a Pokemon I've used a little bit in Pokemon Emerald, and it is Camerupt. I reckon Camerupt has a really cool design, which is one of the reasons it is here on this list. It can have the ability Solid Rock, which reduces the power of super effective hits by 25%, or it can have the ability Anger Point, which raises its attack to +6 when it is hit by a critical hit, so those are both pretty good abilities. I've heard it can work well with the Solid Rock ability and the weakness policy, and this Pokemon has good attack and special attack. Unfortunately, Camerupt is 4 times weak to water, and I've heard it can work well with Stealth Rock, Lava Plume, Earth Power, Roar, Eruption, and Earthquake, and I'm hoping that this Pokemon will get a Mega Evolution in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. At number 9 today, we have got a Pokemon that I really need to use one day in-game or in competitive battling, because I haven't used it in either, and it is Rhyperior. Rhyperior is only really here because I think it has an awesome design, and from what I've heard, it can be very good in-game and in competitive battling. Like Camerupt, it can also have the ability Solid Rock, and it can also have the ability Reckless, which boosts the power of recoil attacks. Rhyperior has a great attack and defense stat, but unfortunately has crap defense and speed, and unfortunately this Pokemon is 4 times weak to both water and grass, but I've heard Rhyperior can work well with Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Stone Edge, Dragon Tail, Mega Horn, and Rock Polish if you want to have some speed investments with it. So let's go ahead and move to number 8. At number 8 today, we have got a Pokemon that was number 7 on my top 10 favorite normal type Pokemon, and it is Diggersby. I'm currently using a Diggersby in Pokemon X named Fluffy, and I've also used Diggersby a little bit in competitive battling, and I've really enjoyed using Diggersby in game. I really like its design, and I think it's awesome that it gets the ability Huge Power, which helps it out a lot in competitive battling. All of its stats are pretty average, but with Huge Power, its base attack is 112, which is pretty high, and it works pretty well in competitive battling with Return, Earthquake, Quick Attack, Hammer Arm, U-Turn, Swords Dance, and Agility. Let's move on to number 7. At number 7 today, we have got a Pokemon that was number 6 on my top 10 favorite Steel type Pokemon, and it is Excadrill. I've used Excadrill a little bit in Pokemon Black and a fair bit in competitive battling. This Pokemon can have the ability Sand Rush, Sand Force, or Mold Breaker, which are all great abilities. I think Mold Breaker is probably the best. This Pokemon works very well with both Mold Breaker and the move Earthquake. This Pokemon has a great attack stat with pretty good speed, and I think it also works well with Stealth Rock, Rapid Spin, Swords Dance, Rock Slide, and Iron Head. I think this Pokemon's design is also pretty cool. At number 6 today, we have got a Pokemon that was at number 5 on my top 10 favorite Dark type Pokemon, and it is Crocodile. I've used Crocodile quite a bit in Pokemon Black and a fair bit in competitive battling. I wanted to use Crocodile because I thought its design was really cool, and I really like the shade looking things on its face that kind of look like sunglasses. I think this Pokemon has a really cool design. It can have the ability either Moxie or Anger Point, which are both good. I think Moxie is slightly better. This Pokemon has good attack and speed, and it works very well with Earthquake, Crunch, Stone Edge, Pursuit, Knockoff, and Superpower. Let's move on to number 5. At number 5 today, we have got a Pokemon that is only really here because of how good it is in competitive battling. I don't think its design is great, I've never used it in game, and it is Donphan. Donphan has a great attack stat and a great defense stat, but unfortunately it has crap special defense and speed. It gets the ability Sturdy, which is really good. It means that it can't be taken out in one hit when it is on full health, and I really like to use Donphan with Rapid Spin, Stealth Rock, Earthquake, and Ice Shard, but I've also used it with Superpower before, and that's also worked pretty well. At number 4 today, we have got a Pokemon I've used in Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, and competitive battling, and it is Gastrodon. Gastrodon is a Pokemon that I might start using soon in my Pokemon Platinum Ground Monotype run, because it is one of my favorite ground type Pokemon, but this Pokemon here can have the ability Sticky Hold, which means it cannot lose its hold item. And now that the move Knockoff is used a lot in competitive battling, Gastrodon can work pretty well with Sticky Hold, but I still think it works slightly better with the ability Storm Drain, which means that it's immune to water type attacks, and if it gets hit by one, its special attack will go up. This Pokemon has very good special attack, it has pretty good HP special defense, and alright physical attack, so you can run physical attacks on it if you really want to. Unfortunately, Gastrodon is 4 times weak to grass, and I like to use it with Scald, Earth Power, Ice Beam, and Recover, but I've heard it can work pretty well with Earthquake and Toxic as well, and I think Gastrodon's design is okay but not great. At number 3 today, we have got another Pokemon that is water and ground type, and it is Swampert. I've used Swampert a little bit in Pokemon Emerald, and a little bit in competitive battling, and Swampert is my favourite Pokemon that is water and ground type. This Pokemon can have either the ability Torrent or Damp, which unfortunately aren't great. This Pokemon has good attack, defense, and special defense, and unfortunately is 4 times weak to grass, just like Gastrodon. This Pokemon works well in competitive battling with Steel Throx, Scald, Waterfall, Earthquake, Toxic, Roar, Ice Punch, and Super Power, and I think Swampert's design is pretty cool, and I'm really glad this Pokemon is getting a Mega Evolution in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and I think Mega Swampert looks even better than regular Swampert, and Mega Swampert just looks amazing. I know a lot of people really like Mega Swampert's design, and I think I'm probably going to have to choose Mudkip in Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire. At number 2 today, we have got a Pokemon that was at number 1 on my top 10 favourite Dragon-type Pokemon, and it is Garchomp. I've used Garchomp a lot in Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Heart Gold, and competitive battling. This Pokemon gets the ability Rough Skin, which means if you hit this guy, you will lose 1/8 of your health, which is a very good ability. This Pokemon has a great attack stat with pretty good speed as well, and unfortunately is 4 times weak to Ice. This Pokemon looks pretty cool, and in my opinion has an even better looking Mega Evolution. Both regular Garchomp and Mega Garchomp work well with Swords Dance, Earthquake, Dragon Claw, Outrage, Stone Edge, Steel Throck, and Fire Fang, and Mega Garchomp unfortunately loses a bit of its speed, so that's why many people like to use a Choice Banded Garchomp instead of a Mega Garchomp. In my opinion, Mega Garchomp is slightly better. And one of the reasons I like Garchomp so much is because Cynthia, the champion of the Sinnoh region, uses one. It's her ace, her best Pokemon, and it always is the hardest one for me to take out. And in Pokemon Platinum, you can get a Gible really early on in the game, and it's a great Pokemon, so that's why I really like Garchomp. Let's go ahead and move on to number 1. You guys probably thought this Pokemon would be somewhere here on this list. It was at number 1 on my top 10 favourite Grass-type Pokemon, and it is Torterra. I'm currently using Torterra in my Pokemon Platinum Ground Monotype run, and it has been amazing to use. I've used this Pokemon in Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, and competitive battling. I really like this Pokemon's design. I love how it's got this small forest on its back with a huge tree just off to the side. This Pokemon gets the ability Shell Armor, which means it can't be hit by critical hits, which is a great ability for competitive battling. This Pokemon has great attack and defense. Unfortunately, Torterra has a 4 times weakness to Ice, just like Garchomp, but Torterra works very well with Wood Hammer, Earthquake, Stone Edge, Steel Throck, Synthesis, Curse, Leech Seed, and Rock Polish. I usually like to use it with Leech Seed, Steel Throck, Earthquake, and Wood Hammer, but it can work well with any of those attacks I just listed. But anyway, that is going to be all for this video today, so as usual, if you guys enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in my next video. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to vote for whether you'd like to see me count down my top 10 favourite Rock-type Pokemon, or my top 10 favourite Fire-type Pokemon in the next top 10 video, and as usual, stay tough.